All right. Well, let's get things going. Let's get things started. Thank you all for being here in our webinar today. We'll be going over the 2022 Internet Marketing Plan and how you can maximize your leads in the new year and how you can kind of crush and accomplish all your goals as we go into this new year. And for those of you, I'm assuming that you're here because you do not already have goals yet made for the new year. Even if you do, great. Hopefully, some of the things we talk about can help you maybe adjust your goals or reconfirm what goals you've made that will take your shop to the next level in this new year and really have you feeling a sense of accomplishment within your shop and making sure that you're continuing to accomplish your 5-year, your 10-year goals and leaving kind of no stone left unturned. So what we'll cover today. So we're going to set clear goals and targets for the year. Primarily, these goals are going to reside around both higher level revenue, car count, ARO for your shop, but then also going a little bit deeper into your marketing goals and budget, because again, we are a marketing company, so that's what we're going to focus a little bit more on that side of things. But hopefully it is still very useful in terms of how you determine your marketing budget here in the new year. We're going to realign those KPIs and tracking to achieve those outcomes. We're really going to map out that plan for accomplishment. So the budget, the channels where the marketing budget should be placed, the important trends that are going on right now. And hopefully within all of this, it'll set you up for massive success here in 2022 and beyond. So I want to start with a question. So what is the hardest part about marketing your auto repair shop? And so why don't you in the comments, let us know what some of the hardest things that you're finding about marketing your auto repair shop. All right, we have no idea where to begin. Okay, they don't know if it's working. They don't know how well it's working. So okay, that's another good comment. Yeah, all right, perfect. So yeah, there are a bunch of hard parts about marketing your auto repair shop. So hopefully as we go through budgeting for today, it'll make things a little bit easier. But one problem is that there's so many options. And so they're unclear of where to spend your marketing budget. I mean, there's people I'm sure that are calling you constantly every single day, and then they're just kind of giving you all these new options, and there's just so many different things that are pulling you in a bunch of different directions. So you're unclear of where you should go with the funds that you then allocated across the board. And another major problem is that it's a major investment. We know marketing isn't cheap, but how are you knowing if the investment is even worth it? If it's bringing that ROI and that return that you're expecting from investing X amount of dollars towards your shop and bringing in that car count. And just like I mentioned before, you're not sure if there's much to show for it. I mean, it's a big problem. It's a big fear within any investment. Is it giving me a return? And you don't want to invest in something that's not bringing you return. And so you definitely want to be able to make sure that your marketing dollars are spent in the right places based on what you're trying to accomplish. Which means that there is an opportunity. There's an opportunity to optimize your marketing budget. And there's an opportunity to then, with the optimization of your marketing spend, really crush and accomplish your goals that you're going to set forth for your shop here in 2022 and beyond. So first things first, though, we need to set goals. I mean, why are goals important? So if people that are here, please comment. Let me know, why do you think goals are important? Okay, so it sets a roadmap for you. Okay, gives you direction. Perfect. These are great answers of why goals are important. But for some people, it's a little bit hard for them to determine why goals are important. And so I'm going to go over a little bit of kind of how it kind of makes a big difference in setting forth goals for your shop, setting goals for your life, and really helps give you that sense of purpose. So we have this quote here of "Success is goals, all else is commentary" by Brian Tracy, and that really resonates with me because I mean, if we don't set goals that then we then accomplish, and what are we truly doing? And so goals kind of gives us that roadmap, that path of feeling that sense of accomplishment or sense of what do we need to do better to make sure that we then accomplish these goals. And it does take practice. And if this is the first time that you're ever making goals for your shop, great that you're here, but your goals will not be perfect. It takes massaging, it takes learning and understanding about what you can truly accomplish, and making sure that it isn't too short, it isn't way too big, but it's something that can definitely stretch the team, stretch yourself to accomplishing, and making sure that you can see a really good consistent improvement year over year. So without setting goals, it's sort of like the sailboat. It's kind of, you're in a boat on the ocean and you're just kind of wandering around. I mean, there's no point of where you need to go. You don't know where you need to go. You're just kind of letting the tide take you wherever it may be. But when you set clear goals, that puts wind in yourself. You start going in the exact direction and getting that momentum that you want to go forth in. And so I'm a big believer in goals. There was a long portion in my life where I just didn't see the value or the time spent to write down goals that then I could accomplish. And I wish I did not have that mindset early on. I feel like I could accomplish a lot more when I was younger and going through college and things like that. But now that I do understand that, I see the power in goals, and it's really important to not just make them, but then kind of have that visual representation around you of, like, you just post it in your mirror, have it in your phone, and just kind of that constant reminder of what goals you set forth for this coming year, for your future. So that way you can consistently do things each and every day to get a little bit closer to those. And by setting them, though, to begin with, it allows you to have that direction of where you know how you need to move. All right. So there was a Harvard study here of 1,979 interview of grads. So 84% of them, they set no specific goals. Then we had 13%, they created goals, but they just didn't write them down. They just kind of had it in their mind of what goals they wanted to accomplish. Then there were 3% that had clear written goals and plans of how they were going to accomplish them. All right, so we were talking about a really wide portion of people that did not create goals, smaller portion that created them but just had it in their mind, and then 3% that wrote it down, plans of how they break down. And so these are the results. So 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% who had no goals at all. That's a big difference, especially, I mean, someone's graduating from Harvard, they already have that big clout of a degree behind them, but already by those people that set forth goals, even just in their mind, they're on average making double what the others were doing. And what's even crazier is that the 3% who had clear written goals were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. So you put all of that together, these 3% of people were making at least 10 times on average what those others are making. So that kind of just shows the true power of creating goals, but then writing them down, making them visual, and a constant reminder kind of everywhere you go. And that way you're constantly understanding and knowing what the goals are. And so if you have goals for the shop, and if you are sharing numbers with certain individuals in the shop, I highly recommend kind of just having that posted in the office or places that your team will see it. So that way they know what you're driving towards in this coming year. And then that way you guys can all work together to make sure you accomplish that. Because again, those things are going to be forgotten if they're not seen, if they're not talked about. So it's a big deal to make sure that it's represented well throughout your shop. And so the goal setting framework, this is kind of what we're going to go over today. So we need to have a written goal and plan. So we're going through a little bit of a spreadsheet of just typing in numbers. I'll have you guys saving off a copy, so that way you can have it for yourself. But then I would also then highly recommend writing it down on pieces of paper, or even typing it out, printing it out, plastering it wherever you can. And you need to set them at a minimum. I mean, not having goals versus having them already, you saw the big difference. So if you're just like, I just don't have the time to write them down, at least set them, and maybe at least share it with another person to have kind of an accountability partner. Maybe another shop owner in the group, another shop owner in a coaching mastermind that you're in. Hold each other accountable, share those goals with each other. And so that way you can push each other, but then also reward those accomplishments when you're achieving them. So usually what we want to expect is a 1-year goal, quarterly goals, and monthly goals. I mean, I recommend even going one step further to daily goals, but again, that takes practice. It takes understanding of what you need to do each day to then accomplish each thing. But when you at least create the yearly goals in terms of numbers, you can easily then do the math of breaking it down into manageable pieces that don't seem as grand. So you type in your year goal and say you want to be a $2 million shop. That looks really big in the grand scheme of things, but when you break it down to a monthly level, it's a lot more achievable. All right. And then you must have a stopping point at the beginning of each new year and then each quarter to reflect on what these goals are. Because again, if you are absolutely crushing your 1 year goal at the point of the midway through the year, you can adjust the goals and kind of make an updated revised version. You would keep the original version to show how amazing you guys did, but that way you don't just slow down momentum just because you're going to blow well past your year goals. You want to make sure that you're constantly looking at them, adjusting them to continue to see that momentum from yourself and your team. All right, and so things that we're going to be looking at today are going to be what is your revenue target? How much is that on a monthly basis? How many calls will that require? And then it'll result in what is your average repair order for those cars that are coming in. All right, so I'm gonna have you go to this link here. Type it in, https://bit.ly 2022 workbook. All right, and there you're going to go. It's going to lead you to a spreadsheet that then we are going to be walking through together here today. That will hopefully help you achieve these goals that we're going to do. All right. So here is the workbook. Hopefully you are seeing my screen okay here. If you're not, please let me know in the comments. I do apologize if you are not seeing it. Hopefully you are. All right. And so this is the spreadsheet. So first thing I'm going to do is have you just file, make a copy. Okay. You're just going to make a copy of this on your drive. I'll just do it here just so you can see. But then we're going to make a copy. And so this is now will be your own personal copy that you have saved on your computer. Okay. So then from here, I'm going to walk you through what portions will be editable and then kind of the numbers that we're going to spit. So annual revenue goal target. So hopefully now that we've reached the end of the year here for your shops, you have a firm understanding of what you accomplished in 2021 for your shop and the revenue goal. So now in this new year, we would expect to see a percentage increase. It can be 50%, it can be 25%, it can be 10%, whatever you feel is a little bit of a stretch, but also attainable goal. I want you to place in this cell here, B8. So instead of having 1.5, you can maybe say, I want it to be 750,000, or if you're a much bigger shop, you would put 0.5 million, something along those lines. And then you'll see the monthly revenue target automatically update itself to what your monthly rev should be on average. That way it's just a little bit more digestible for yourself on a monthly goal portion. So just again, it's just that amount divided by 12. So just for today though, we're just going to go with 1.5 and this example. And now we're going to go down to B11. It's going to be your average repair order. And so hopefully also you have a firm grasp and know immediately what your ARO is. If not, it's totally fine. Go ahead and look it up in your POS system and see what sort of ARO you had for this year. And then let's again place another percentage uplift on what you want your average repair order to be in the coming year. There should hopefully be an increase of what you're seeing. I mean, already, as you know, the parts and things are already increasing, and thus naturally your ARO should be going up. But I don't know if you already have implemented labor rates going up or anything like that. But that's besides the point. Just look at what your ARO is, maybe even the last 3 months, if you're not able to look back as far as a year, and uplift that by say $50, $100 and put that in here. So for now, I'm gonna leave this here at 750, but just so that you can see if it was 600, you're at the monthly cars would then just automatically be in here. Okay. The monthly cars would be required to hit your monthly goals are, again, they're just going to be your monthly rev target divided by your average repair order. So that'll give you an idea of how many cars you need in your shop each and every month to work toward this annual revenue goal target that you have. So if this number looks way too big or way too small, then that probably most likely means that one of your two goals are a lot more off than you're used to seeing. I'll just double check that, maybe extend that bigger, make it smaller. So that way, again, it's more in line with what you're expecting to see, but also there should be an uplift in car count. Because again, you don't want to make goals that are too easy. You want it to be a stretch and make sure that your shop is pushing and working really hard. All right. And so step 2 is the number of leads now that are required to hit the target. So this will differ from each and every shop. I don't know if you already know this offhand, what percentage of callers that then come into your shop. It's a really important conversion rate to understand, because again, not every person that calls is going to be coming in, and also not everyone that calls has to be someone that comes to your shop. Just for the point of this exercise, I'm pretending as if people will call first before coming into the shop, but obviously, I mean, once you have strong enough brand recognition, and some people just understand, they just type it in their Google Maps, they want directions, they know they're going to you without calling first. You do walk-ins, things like that. That will obviously help with car count. Majority of the people that are coming in are going to be typically calling you first because they found you on Google or a different social platform. And so here, for the purpose of this exercise, I'm saying 75% conversion rate of people that are calling the shop. If they pick up the phone to call you, that should be high likelihood that that's a car that's coming. If the person on the phone is doing the right thing, saying the right things. But so on 75%, I think it's a little bit conservative. So if we were to 90, you can see the number of leads that are needed decreases. But if we're down to 50%, it goes way up. And so this kind of gives you an idea there. If 75% here, that means about 222 leads. And then here I just have a quick example of, okay, average cost per generated lead, we'll say it's about $10. Again, that's going to be really your total marketing spend divided by the number of leads. That gives you an idea of the average cost per lead. Then here, since we're working toward creating a budget, the budget required to hit that target is going to be about $2,200 a month is what we're looking at here. If the average cost per lead is $10, and the number of leads times average cost. Okay, so this is just kind of a quick high level. Again, your KPIs for your shop you should have a lot more key indicators than this, but for the purpose of this exercise, these are the kind of the numbers we would need to then determine what marketing spend should be allocated in order to help achieve and accomplish these goals. Because again, without marketing, it'd be really hard for just strictly only word of mouth to accomplish this. But if you are accomplishing this with strictly word of mouth, then I think this is a really good opportunity if you do invest marketing dollars that you can see and understand here how much you could potentially grow even further. So now we're going to go over to the budget allocations page. So here in this portion where we are going to now break down what the marketing spend should be. And within marketing, there are going to be different portions that you want to allocate. Not everything is going to go towards Google ads or anything like that. But here you'll see the annual projected revenue that carried over straight from that previous file. We're looking at that 1.5. And so now we want a percentage of that revenue that you typically want to market for budgeting. And so rule of thumb, typically on average that we've seen is about 8% is invested into marketing. For this purpose, I'm just gonna be really conservative. I'm only gonna put in 6%. Typically, if you're ultra conservative and you just want to kind of keep status quo and you're not trying to throw in a lot more dollars into marketing, you'd be looking at least wanting to spend about 3% of what your annual projected revenue should be. If you're looking for hyper growth, really aggressive, you're looking at that 10 to 15% mark of your marketing spend. So here you can see 3% and that $1.5 million projection, you'd be looking at $45K a year or $3,750 for a month. If we're back up to say 10%, we'd be looking at a marketing budget of $150K or $12.5K per month. But again, we're going to be conservative here. We're going to go with 6%. Okay, so on a 1.5 annual projection, you're looking at $90,000 around there in marketing budget and 7.5K. Now within the marketing spend, you typically have 3 buckets of allocation. So you have the online marketing. So that includes SEO, that includes Google ads, that includes social, that includes social ads, kind of anything on the online realm of contacting customers and getting new ones into the shop. Depending on where you are in your growth pattern, they may need to be a lot higher, may need to be lower, because now you have a really strong customer database that then now you're focusing more on repeat business and making sure that that loyalty continues. But for the sake of this exercise, we're going to assume that the majority of companies are focusing a lot on online marketing and continuing to grab that market share in their area. And so typically you'd be wanting to spend at least 60 to 70% of your marketing budget towards online marketing. All right. And then we have the allocation of offline marketing. So offline marketing consists of billboards, direct mail, radio ads, things like that just aren't your typical forms of online marketing on the internet. And so typically you see that around that 20% mark. And then allocation of repeat business, that's typically on the lower end. Again, if you have a strong customer brand, that's going to be a much bigger percentage. But for the sake of this exercise, we have it only at 10%. And so that's in order to, again, add the campaigns to reach back out to your brand, whether maybe that's having like actual items that you're sending out to your current customer base. Maybe during the holidays, you're sending out things to them as a thank you, things like that. But that's all marketing investment towards repeat business. All right. And so this down here sort of breaks this down into tangible monthly numbers for you automatically. Here you see what it would be for the year. Again, it's just this times the number. So we have the annual spend times the percentage of how that gets divvied out. So you'll be looking at 63K, 8K, 9K effectively for each of these buckets. And then here we're gonna deviate it out by month. So then this is just a 1/12 or 1 month of 100% and times the annual spend that you'd be typically doing. All right. So you'd be looking at that 5250 mark on online marketing here in this example. 1,500 on offline, 750 on repeat business on a monthly basis. But then within the online marketing realm, now there's even, we're going to get even more granular because there's obviously different places that you can spend on online marketing. And so in this allocation, I have it broken down between SEO, PPC, and display, retargeting. And so here, for the sake of example, I have 35, 55, 5. Sometimes people don't even want to bother with this until they just have it straight up broken up 50-50. And so you can break it up display, that way you can see what your marketing spend should be in each of these places. But typically your highest spend will be coming from your highest spend will be coming from your PPC though, because again, Google ads are not cheap, but they do have a really strong ROI. And so it is a valuable investment for you to then throw money on a monthly basis at your pay-per-click spend. Okay, and so then here, once you have those percentages in there, these automatically get broken down as well, where now you have a tangible idea of what your monthly budget should be in each of these areas. Okay, and so that way you can look at your P&L from this past year and better understand where your marketing is going. If you have all of this going towards mainly one marketing team or a company like something along those lines, I'll reach out to them, just get an understanding of how that's being spent. You really want to understand where your marketing dollars are going so you can optimize how things are working, how things are not, and making sure that you're continuing to make those better to really accomplish what you're trying to achieve at your shop. Okay, and then here again, you just have the annualized breakdown. That way you can see that they tie together. All right. So yeah, so at a very high level, this is what you'd want to do in order to accurately create a marketing budget. And then on top of that, you want to also then create a calendar of maybe deals or promotions that are going out throughout the year that you want to focus on for your team. It's obviously within I have an example here for you of a marketing calendar that you'd want to break down into each of the different marketing services. So we have email and social. They're going to be presented with sort of the same content copy, same images, just lots of different places. And then the PPC and SEO are going to be focused around the same sort of campaigns as well. And so here I have heating and AC repair in the winter months, brake repair during that springtime, fender repair, electro diagnostics. And these are just straight up examples. Feel free to edit these as you see fit. Again, this is just to give you a rubric of something of a calendar that you'd want to lay out and then maybe even present to the marketing team that you have that say, hey, these are the things I want to focus on in each quarter of the year. I really want to do these promotions on social, please make sure that the content aligns with the strategy that we want to set forth for the new year. So you can definitely go as deep as this. You can even have something do it for you, but this at least gives you kind of a general guideline of what you want to accomplish during the year. And then here you have kind of, we will be going over this more in depth as we go through the slides here, but it just gives you this pinwheel of kind of the different places of marketing that you want to make sure that you're paying attention to. All right. So are there any questions along there? Hopefully that was pretty straightforward and all the equations are working great. I mean, I do have quite a bit of extensive experience with Excel, but again, hopefully I didn't have any user error in here and you're able to accomplish what you wanted to. So if you want to comment, give me just a yes in the comments that you're working great. Okay, good. We got a few yeses. Perfect. All right, great. Hopefully this was of help to you. Dig in a little bit deeper and make sure that once you really lay out your annual projected revenue car count arrow, that it aligns with then how that should correlate to your marketing spend. Okay, so we're going to go back now to the slides. All right. Marketing strategy, big picture. So for accelerated growth, now we kind of look at 3 different areas. First are going to be the leads, where the lead should be coming from, the conversions, how that then the conversion should be optimized and reaping the best benefit for your shop. And then lastly, you want to focus on optimizing that ROI. You're not just spending to spend. You want to make sure that it's being spent in the right places. So in terms of leads, there's typically 3 places. So you're going to get organic leads. So organic leads just consists of someone typing in auto repair in your city, and then you're appearing at the top of Google. You're appearing naturally in the maps. You're appearing naturally in the organic search ratings right below the maps at a high level, and that way you're getting net organic clicks to your website, and people are giving you a call. Then you're going to have the paid way to get leads. So you're paying for ads, whether it be on Google, being on the top. We've seen it as the best return your investment in terms for shops, but then there's also you can spend ads on social, and whether it be a platform like Facebook or Yelp or wherever else you're seeing a benefit of paid ads. But again, that's another platform where another way that you're able to get leads coming into your business. And then lastly, a way that a lot of people forget about is your current database, just leveraging all the customer data that you already have, the numbers that you have, and reaching out and following up with those people with your promotional deals of the month and things like that, to making sure they're coming back in and you're really keeping that brand loyalty really strong, and it continues to bring in that car count. That way, like I mentioned in the goals, it was really related to just new car count, and thus this many leads results in cars coming in, and your car count needs to reach this number. But by leveraging your database, it really helps offset the amount of organic leads and paid leads that you're going to need to spend money on to them, because you already won their business once. So why not keep on continuing to win their business over and over again by sending out text messages, things like that to them, and really leveraging, making sure they're coming back. But then once you get all those leads, so for here, I would kind of give yourself a rating from like a green, yellow, red of what is going good, what is going bad. So that way you can reflect on maybe where some of your spend needs to go, where some of your spend needs to go more towards. Because if things are going good, why not put a little bit more spend there to see if the ROI continues and you can continue to get more leads. So these are things that you definitely want to rate yourself on to see how they're working. And then now we're going to go to conversion. So now once the lead comes in, we need those people to you need to have people answering the phone. You need those cars to actually then now come into the shop, because now they're interested, but they're not quite there yet. And so the different ways of conversion are going to be through website, they're going to be through reputation, and then automation. So website, you want to make sure that then you have a nice easy number at the top of your website that's mobile friendly. They can just tap on the number, give you a call. They don't need to scroll all over the website. You got them there. That was a big hurdle to get. Then you want to make sure it's as easy as possible for them to contact you. So you want to make sure your website can convert. You want to make sure there's contact forms that are towards the top of pages, so they don't need to scroll again very far. Really easy for information capture. And then that email, when the form gets filled out, it gets alerted to a team member. They give the call back right away, things like that. And then reputation. So within your brand image, say it's on social, say it's your Google reviews, you want to make sure that your reputation is strong, because that will help with the conversion as well. If you have a bunch of very low reviews on Google, your average star ratings are below 4, it's going to be really hard to consistently convert new clients, because now they're weary of coming into the shop, since it looks like you haven't been performing very well, and then you don't respond back to the bad reviews or even the good reviews, so they don't know how attentive the business is. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on that reputation, and usually results speak for themselves, and you continue to do a good job. But you also want to make sure you're staying in front with communication, because I mean, people just appreciate that time that you're investing in really getting to understand their problems, and because they're going through a big thing with their car being most likely not able to work. Or, I mean, yes, you're going to have the regular maintenance, but there are times where people are going to be hectic, and I'm sure that you already know. But you want to make sure you're handling those things correctly, because that goes a long way with them. They share who they go with on their different neighborhood sites and things like that. And then we have automation. So that's another thing that people aren't thinking about as often, but you want to have ways to reach back out to customers if, say, you missed the call. I mean, every writer, or maybe the writer's on another line and they just can't answer another call that comes through, and so they miss it. How often when you have a car problem are you going to wait for them to call you back? Most likely never. You want to make sure that there's a way to reach back out to them immediately, because they're just going to scroll down to the next shop that then answers the phone. And so you want to have automation that when a missed call comes through, there's a text message that goes back out to them immediately that says, "We're sorry we missed your call. How can we help you?" And that way it buys you time. They'll most likely text back saying what's wrong, and then someone can call back, or even text back and forth with them to follow up and make sure you win that business. Because again, you do not want that opportunity lost, because you did all the work for the lead to come through. You don't want to lose it just simply because you did not have automation set up that then can close that deal for you without having someone to be answering every single phone call, because naturally missed phone calls will happen. So again, I would rate yourself kind of green, yellow, red on how these things are performing, so that way you can understand where things need to improve upon, or you need to tell your web developer or something of how things need to be adjusted, so that way these things can be green and not so much red. And then lastly, we have optimizing ROI, because again, you're going to be spending all these dollars, you're going to be converting them into actual cars coming in, but now you want this funnel to work very effectively, so that way you're making the most use of your spend. So things you're going to want to look at is your total spend, your average cost per lead, and then thus the ROI that is bringing in return. And so if you're spending too much and the ROI is just not there, then this is where you probably want to decrease spend, decrease the strategies that you're implementing there. Or if the ROI is phenomenal, then you can uplift and increase the amount of spend that you're doing here, especially if it's not changing the average cost per lead, then all you're doing is increasing spend on top that then it's going to be bringing in more leads in return. And so these are things that you definitely want to look at in terms of your marketing strategy and really understanding the big picture. But I also want to go in a little bit deeper in terms of conversions and on your website and how that should be working. Your website. I want you all to pull up your website right now and ask yourself, is it built to convert? When you go on their website, is it easy for someone to call you? Is it easy to schedule an appointment? Does it quickly grab their attention on how they need to get a hold of you, whether it be a form, phone number, things like that? If it's not, those are things you definitely want to tweak in this coming year, so that way it's very adjusted. But even more so, you want to pull it up on your phone, because again, about 70% of the people that are going to be coming to your website are coming from their phone. So if your website is not mobile friendly and you can't just tap on the number and things are just not loading very quickly, that's a big deterrent, because again, people want immediate gratification. They want things to be easy. And so if the website's not easy for them to use, they're probably going to jump off of it and go to the next website on the list. So you want to make sure those things look appropriately. All right. Now, this is why leads that are not followed up within 15 minutes go cold. And I would say probably even less than that nowadays is probably within even 5 minutes. Like if someone calls and they do not hear back, they probably found a new person already at that point in time, because they're probably just going on the list. They're not going to wait for someone to call them back, because they need to be able to drive and use their car. So you want to make sure that you are following up very, very quickly. So the average customer must be followed up with 5 to 7 times before booking. And so sometimes it's going to take a bunch of follow-up because maybe they know they have a big repair and they need to fix, and they're going to get a bunch of price quotes from different people. So, but you just want to make sure you're constantly following up with them to ensure that they're happy and that you confidently take care of that. That's all. Again, comes down to a lot of the communication aspect. And then today's consumer, as you already probably know, is that they prefer to interact via text versus the phone call or email. Text messages are such an easy way to quickly communicate with a customer versus, I mean, some people just get nervous on the phone nowadays and things like that. So you want to, but I mean, as annoying as that may be, that you may feel that it is for you to have to deal with, I mean, it's modern times. We have to consistently adapt to the consumer and how they want to communicate with you. And so that's where I highly recommend, if you're not already, leveraging some sort of text messaging tool. That's what we use to support all of our clients, and sort of in terms of text messages, two-way texting that then reaches out to the customers immediately, because a lot of them, again, prefer to communicate that way. And really, when you're showing that you're active on there, communicating with them as easy as possible, it really just helps your brand, helps your image. All right, here's a solution. So you want to leverage marketing automation, like I mentioned, to follow up with the web forms, follow up with the submissions via the phone, texting, things like that. You want to make sure that you have things in place where you do not have to have someone sitting on the computer waiting for these forms to come through, sitting and waiting for the text messages to come through. These just get alerted straight to whatever leaders on your team need to receive it, whether it be yourself, whether it be a service manager or writer, whoever it may be. Make sure that it's going to all of them automatically, so that way it can get forwarded to the right places. They can respond back, they can call back as fast as possible to make sure, again, that follow-up happens, because you do not want to miss the opportunity to then bring a car in. You already understand the ARO, and if you're missing, say 10 of them at $750 a clip, that's $7,500 gone, just like that, just because of a simple thing of not following them. So, and then again, you want to automate the follow-up so that every prospect is touched 5 times and being able to engage in that two-way text messages. So you just want to make sure that it's easy for them as possible to reach you if they have questions, if they have concerns, things like that. So at the end of the day, it's simple math. So say you have 100 leads, instead of now your conversion rate being 75%, it's only 30%, because you do not have any follow-up mechanism. You don't have any automation behind that. So now, of these 100 leads, you're only booking 30 cars. So at 100 leads times 30%, that's how I'm getting the 30. And your average ticket, say, is $650. 30 times 650 is $19,500. So again, we're looking at a big loss in dollars, because now you're only getting $19,500. Versus that you have automated follow-up. And now we're talking about that 70% conversion rate. Should just be on the very conservative side. So of the 100 leads, instead of 30 book, you're talking about 70 book. And so now that's 650 average repair order, you're looking at 45,500. So you're talking about a big $26,000 difference in these two numbers. And on a monthly basis, if you spread that out, that is a considerable chunk of change. And so just because of the lack of automation and follow-up. So definitely reflect on what processes you have that are currently following up to ensure that that conversion is taking place. So again, this affects your ROI, this affects the marketing dollars you need to spend, because if you're failing in this conversion rate and you're thinking, well, I just need to spend more money to get more leads, when you really could just be focused on how do I optimize this conversion rate instead, so that I can spend the same amount of dollars and get a bigger bang for my buck. And then if I spend more at that point, then I get even bigger increase. So those are things that you want to definitely reflect upon to make sure that they're working well. Okay. So make every lead you generate more valuable. Every lead is already super valuable, but you want to increase the value proposition that it brings. And especially because if they're coming back and they're repeat customers, you already know how valuable that one lead can be. So let's make sure that this is implemented in your business. You want to make sure that this is not something that you just brush off to the back burner, because again, it can make a big difference in terms of your top line revenue, and making sure that you're overall spend is being done correctly, and that's just really, again, helping you accomplish your goals in this 2022 year, because we want to make sure that you are crushing those goals. And lastly, like I mentioned before, here is sort of the wheel of marketing, in a sense, of all the different places that you want to make sure that you're focusing your marketing dollars on. So we have the SEO, pay-per-click, like we talked about, in terms of lead generation. Social media, that's going to be focused a lot more on your branding, making sure that you're at least semi-active on there. The ROI on social typically is not going to be as strong, but your brand recognition and loyalty is a big factor into that portion. So you do not want to just have a Facebook page that has 5 likes and is doing nothing. You want to at least be proactive and making a few posts here and there at the very bare minimum, and making sure that you're just kind of resonating within the community, and people will see that and kind of recommend their friends and whatnot. So, and reputation management, that's another big thing within Google reviews. You want to make sure that you are responding back to these reviews. I mean, getting them is very important. Getting them can be like a very useful tool by leveraging texting. That's a big way that you can get more reviews by them reaching out to the customer after they brought their shop in, asking them if they're happy with the service, and if they are, then you just send them a link to leave you a review. It's going to be a lot more effective than really any other mechanism, because it's just very easy for people to read their text messages. So you definitely want to make sure that you are focused on that reputation management, because then again, getting more reviews also does help with your organic ranking and getting more leads that way. Your website, as we talked about a little bit more in depth, you want to make sure that that's built to convert, because if you have a website that is not converting, but you're getting visitors, then you are wasting a lot of money because of a simple thing of not having your website be convertible. You want to make sure that it is very easy for them to reach you and call you. Right? And then we have the SMS, text marketing. You want to make sure you have two-way communication. It's not just a one-way street. You want to make sure that they can text you, you respond back, have organic conversations. You can retarget your current database by then sending out deals or promotions of the month, just to make sure that they are aware of what's going on. You can even wish them Merry Christmas, things like that. That just shows that you care about them, you're grateful for their business, and that you're just as active as possible in that communication basis with them. And then it helps you obtain those reviews, and positive ones. And then loyalty, this is going to be coming from the coupons, rewards, gift cards, referrals. So those are things that you can then also be able to share by sending out different ways to create brand loyalty, whether it be you come in for 5 oil changes, you get 1 free, or we'll send out a gift card if you refer over 5 people or something along those lines. That just helps with brand loyalty. So just think about how you can do that. But these are kind of the steps that we'd like to focus on. Takeaways. So hopefully you guys learned quite a bit. Hopefully you are able to create those goals. You're able to understand really how you should budget marketing for this coming year and beyond. Making sure that you're spending your marketing dollars that you do have allocated out in the right places. Making sure that hopefully you do have a marketing budget. And hopefully you can understand and see where the ROI will come from marketing. So just make sure you're analyzing those pieces and reflecting on how that should work. Play with the numbers in the spreadsheet. Put in outlandish numbers to see what they should be, and or maybe match the exact numbers that you did for the current year and back into what the number of leads and arrows should have been, things like that. So it just hopefully it's a useful tool to you. And hopefully again you can share this with your peers as a valuable insight for yourself. So does anyone have any questions? Please post them in here. If I don't get them today, I'll reach out to you personally and answer those questions, because we do most likely have your email, or I'll find you on Facebook or something along those lines. But I promise we'll get your questions answered. So all right, now thank you. A few good jobs. Thank you guys so much for being here today. So like I mentioned, we've covered creating those goals, creating those KPIs, and really hopefully optimizing your marketing spend. And in the coming year that will hopefully set you up for massive success in this coming year and beyond. You offer free strategy sessions. And so if you are interested in me looking at your goals, looking at how you're currently spending in marketing, how you're currently ranking in Google, I'll be happy to do that. We do free sessions, so that way you can see your online visibility. We do a GeoGrid breakdown of your shop in a 5-mile radius, so that way you can see how you're performing on average in the maps for, say, someone typing auto repair somewhere near your shop. You want to at least be in those top 3, because that's what's going to be appearing in Google. Typically people don't click past that, so you want to make sure you're performing well there. And then you can get an analysis of how you're just performing via the citations, online reviews, everything like that. We'll give you kind of a comprehensive look at what that is. So feel free to go straight to this link, or you can go to our website that the link goes to this link, or just give us a call here, 877-773-3446. In our Facebook group, this Facebook group is filled with all the other shop owners across the nation. It is a quickly growing group. We have some fun people in there that are definitely willing to share a lot of valuable information with each other, with pain points that they've had, with successes that they've had. So please feel free. The facebook.com group's Auto Repair Owners Mastermind. So that is a group that we do run. So there will be marketing material that we bring forth in terms of best practices, things like that. But it's mainly a place for other owners to collaborate, link with each other, and hopefully then, for example, you can hold each other accountable for your goals for this coming year. And then we have some resources for you. There's a pre-marketing checklist on our site. So feel free to go to this link if you need a checklist of making sure that you have all those things done for your repair shops. So feel free to check that out. And thank you all for your time. You can call us directly, book a strategy session if you see fit. But even if not, I am super grateful that you took the time to be here with me on this webinar, or if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay up until this point. And hopefully these things really help you with your goals in 2022 and beyond. So this is Kelsey with Lyft Auto Repair Marketing, and thank you so much for your time.